For 2,000 years, Cleopatra has been remembered as history's ultimate beauty. But new DNA analysis reveals something far more disturbing. The last pharaoh wasn't just fighting Rome, she was fighting her own biology, and the evidence suggests she may have been losing. Modern science is finally closing in on two secrets that have remained buried for millennia. First, where is Cleopatra's body? Second, what did her DNA actually look like? The answers to both questions are beginning to emerge, and neither matches the legend. Kathleen Martinez, a criminal lawyer turned archaeologist, has spent 20 years searching for Cleopatra's final resting place. While mainstream experts insisted the tomb was destroyed beneath modern Alexandria, Martinez investigated like a cold case detective. She focused on Taposiris Magna Temple, 30 miles west of the city. In 2022, her team broke through limestone and discovered an underground tunnel carved through solid bedrock, stretching over 4,300 feet and submerged in water. This engineering marvel matches the legendary Greek tunnel of Samos. Why build a mile-long tunnel 40 feet underground through unstable rock? This level of construction indicates massive importance. You do not commit this kind of engineering resource to a minor site. The tunnel required coordinating hundreds of workers, navigating groundwater, and maintaining structural integrity through crumbling bedrock. Martinez believes this tunnel leads to Cleopatra's burial chamber. Inside the temple complex, her team found 16 tombs containing mummies with golden tongue amulets placed in their mouths. Ancient Egyptians believed you needed a golden tongue to speak to Osiris, lord of the underworld. Without it, you would be struck mute in the afterlife, unable to plead your case for eternal life. These may have been Cleopatra's inner circle, buried with the power to announce their queen's arrival in the afterlife. We are standing in a royal necropolis, a waiting room for the divine. Before finding Cleopatra herself, scientists attempted to decode her DNA through her sister Arsinoe IV. Arsinoe briefly seized Egypt's throne before being captured by Julius Caesar and exiled. The relationship between the sisters was defined by ruthless ambition. When Cleopatra was exiled from Egypt, it was Arsinoe who took power. When Caesar arrived, it was Arsinoe who led the military resistance and actually managed to trap him in the palace. But Caesar prevailed, and Arsinoe was dragged to Rome in chains. The Roman crowds actually wept for her, a teenage princess in shackles. That sympathy saved her life temporarily. She was exiled to the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus, believing the holy ground would protect her. She was wrong. In 41 BCE, Cleopatra convinced Mark Antony to do the unthinkable: send assassins to violate sacred ground. They dragged Arsinoe from the temple steps and ended her life. It was a scandal that shocked the ancient world. But for modern scientists, it provided something invaluable: a location. Archaeologists discovered a skeleton in a prestigious tomb called the Octagon. The timeline, location, and age all matched. If this was Arsinoe, scientists had Cleopatra's genetic blueprint. But in 2025, researchers from the University of Vienna used micro-CT scans and DNA extraction to analyze the skull. They drilled into the petrous temporal bone, the densest part of the skull that preserves DNA when everything else has turned to dust. The results shattered everything. The skeleton belonged to an adolescent boy aged 11 to 14 with a Y chromosome. He suffered severe developmental disorders: stunted jaw, twisted asymmetrical skull, possibly from Treacher-Collins syndrome or rickets. His DNA traced to Italy or Sardinia, not Egypt. The supposed proof of Cleopatra's heritage was completely wrong. Even more mysterious, why was a deformed, sickly Italian boy buried in one of the most prestigious tombs in the ancient world? Was he a scapegoat, a sacrifice, a hidden royal child whose existence was too shameful to acknowledge, but too important to forget? With this false lead eliminated, scientists returned to historical records. What they found was genuinely terrifying. The Ptolemaic dynasty practiced systematic sibling marriage for over 2 centuries to concentrate power and maintain bloodline purity. This wasn't occasional cousin marriage. These were deliberate brother-sister unions, generation after generation. The family tree didn't branch outward. It collapsed inward, circling back on itself in a closed loop. Cleopatra's parents were almost certainly full siblings. Her grandparents were likely siblings or uncle-niece. Go back another generation, and you find the same pattern repeating. This creates what geneticists call pedigree collapse. In a normal family tree, you have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents. The funnel opens up to the world. But Cleopatra's tree spiraled inward. She had fewer unique ancestors than a typical person would have. Geneticists estimate Cleopatra's inbreeding coefficient exceeded 45%. To understand this number, consider that children of first cousins have about 6%. The Habsburg dynasty of Spain, which practiced similar sibling marriages, ended with Charles II. His inbreeding coefficient was 25%. He couldn't speak until age 4, couldn't walk until 8, and couldn't chew his own food because his jaw was so deformed that his top and bottom teeth couldn't touch. He swallowed everything whole. When he died at 38, the autopsy reported his body contained almost no blood, his head was full of water, and his heart was the size of a peppercorn. His autopsy revealed almost no functioning organs. Cleopatra's genetic risk was nearly double his. Inbreeding creates homozygosity. Normally, if one parent passes a defective gene, the other parent's healthy gene provides backup. It's a biological conversation where one voice covers the flaws of the other. But when both parents are siblings, they carry identical genetic flaws. Every recessive disease gene gets doubled with no protection. It's the same errors repeating over and over with no healthy gene to step in and save you. This typically produces severe physical deformities, cognitive impairment, and shortened lifespans. By every genetic principle, Cleopatra should have been catastrophically disabled. Yet historical sources describe her as highly intelligent, speaking 9 languages fluently, politically dominant, and magnetically charismatic. Plutarch wrote that her beauty was not incomparable, but her conversation was irresistible. Her voice had a bewitching quality. This creates a paradox that demands explanation. How did she function? How did she not just survive, but thrive? Look at her family history for clues. Her great-granduncle Ptolemy VII, called Potbelly, was described as morbidly obese with weak limbs so feeble they couldn't support his massive frame. He needed attendants to walk him around. But look closer at the descriptions: swollen neck, bulging eyes, shortness of breath. Modern medical historians recognize these as symptoms of Graves' disease, an autoimmune disorder attacking the thyroid gland. But Graves' disease doesn't just affect appearance. It floods the body with thyroid hormones, creating manic energy, rapid speech, insomnia, and impulsive high-stakes behavior. Historical accounts praised Cleopatra for her boundless vitality, her ability to work through entire nights without rest, her constant motion and activity. She could reportedly attend diplomatic functions all day and study languages and sciences all night. Medical anthropologists now ask a darker question. Was this exceptional energy actually a symptom of inherited thyroid disease, masquerading as genius? Was the fire inside her actually a hormonal storm she couldn't control? If Cleopatra suffered from genetic disorders, she had one advantage. Egypt was the pharmaceutical capital of the ancient world. Egyptian physicians had cataloged hundreds of medicinal plants and compounds over thousands of years. For chronic pain from compromised joints and bones, the kind of agony that plagued the Habsburg line, she could use opium harvested from Egyptian poppy fields. It was the ancient world's ultimate painkiller, allowing her to stand tall during endless diplomatic receptions when her genetically compromised skeleton might have been screaming. For insomnia and anxiety from possible Graves' disease, she had KY-FHI, a sedative temple incense. Plutarch wrote that its scent lulled one to sleep and loosened daily tensions like untying a knot. For a woman possibly trembling with hyperthyroid energy, Kai-Fi wouldn't be a luxury, it would be necessity. For pain relief and mood enhancement, she had blue lotus flowers steeped in wine. This produces a sense of euphoria, a floating feeling that lifts you above pain. Was her legendary charisma natural, or was it a carefully calibrated cocktail of blue lotus wine and adrenaline keeping her performing above her body's limitations? We know she wrote Cosmeticon, a treatise on cosmetics that physicians like Galen quoted centuries later. This shows she wasn't just buying makeup. She was researching it, experimenting with formulations. This wasn't vanity. If Graves' disease caused bulging eyes or a goiter, if genetic issues caused skin problems or facial asymmetries, her cosmetic obsession was medical necessity. Elaborate eye makeup using kohl could reshape eyes that might have been too prominent. Broad collar jewelry and ornate necklaces could hide a swollen neck. She may have been history's first biohacker, using chemistry, botany, and art to project the image of a goddess while privately managing chronic illness. She painted a lie over her face every single day. Martinez's tunnel excavation continues beneath Taposiris Magna. 20 years of searching has brought her closer than anyone in history, but the stakes have changed completely. We're no longer searching for a legendary beauty. We're searching for biological evidence of either a genetic miracle or a profound medical tragedy. When that tomb opens, we might find a woman who was petite, possibly frail, concealing tremendous pain behind elaborate cosmetics and pharmaceutical management. We might discover that the most powerful woman in the ancient world ruled despite her body systematically failing. The sarcophagus might reveal skeletal evidence of the very diseases her family carried: deformed joints, unusual bone density, signs of metabolic disorders. Finding Cleopatra will rewrite both history and biology textbooks. It will answer whether she miraculously escaped her family's curse through a 1 in a million genetic lottery, or became the ultimate survivor who refused to let genetics define her destiny. The tunnel sits silent, filled with 2,000 years of water, mud, and darkness. But DNA technology advances exponentially. Ground-penetrating radar grows more sophisticated every year. Advanced sequencers can now extract genetic material from the faintest traces. The moment approaches when we'll finally see Cleopatra's true face and decode her genetic reality. And when that happens, we may discover that history's greatest seductress was actually history's greatest survivor, a woman whose real victory wasn't over Rome, but over the genetic time bomb ticking inside her own cells. The question isn't whether she was beautiful. The question is whether ruling the world while fighting your own DNA makes you more impressive or less. Does discovering she may have looked nothing like the legend diminish her achievement or magnify it? Was she a goddess or a survivor? The answer is still buried, waiting to be unearthed. And when we find it, we might realize that the truth is far more impressive than any myth Hollywood ever created.